All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving headfirst into the fast and furious world of Formula One. And specifically, we're going deep on a rookie who's got everyone talking, Franco Colapinto.
Yeah, 3 races in for Colapinto with Williams, and the motorsport world is already, well, let's just say opinions are flying around faster than a flying lap at Monza.
That's a good one. But yeah, it's not every day a young driver bursts onto the scene mid-season, replacing another rookie, no less, and immediately starts turning heads,
It's pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Stepping into those shoes with a team trying to rebuild under the full glare of the F1 spotlight. Talk about a trial by fire.
And let's not forget the historical context here. First Argentine driver since Reitman. That's what, 23 years? Talk about a legacy to live up to, right? So you've been digging deep into this, the Formula1.com articles, his driver profile. You even dug up some Argentinian press. What's the early read? Beyond just the headlines, what's the story with Colapinto?
Well, the first thing that struck me is, well, frankly, it's the contrast. The contrast between how he's being portrayed in the Argentinian media versus, kind of the wider F1 community.
Oh, that's interesting. How so?
Well, you look at, like, the Buenos Aires Herald, they're going all in. I mean, they're already calling him a hero, drawing these, like, grand comparisons to Fangio himself.
Whoa, hold on already. Fangio. That's some serious weight to put on a young driver's shoulders, don't you think?
Totally. But it just shows you the level of expectation, the sheer excitement he's generating back home, It's like the whole country is living this F1 dream through him.
Makes sense. I mean, Argentina, they've got such a rich motorsport history. But you're saying there's a different vibe outside of Argentina.
Yeah, in the broader F1 world, it's more like cautious optimism, I'd say. Everyone sees the raw talent, no doubt, but it's also this acknowledgement that, well, he's still a rookie, right? Still some rough edges there.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So let's talk about those rough edges. First race, Monza, talk about a baptism by fire.
No kidding. Monza, iconic track, the pressure of a home crowd, the weight of Argentina on his shoulders.
Yeah.
But if you listen to Albon's comments on that Italian GP, what's striking is how calm Colapinto seemed. Yeah, Albon even mentioned it, how composed he was. No sign of nerves, no rookie jitters, just focused, like a seasoned pro, almost.
Huh, interesting. And he still managed to pull off a pretty decent result, all things considered. 12th place, right? Not bad at all for a debut, especially considering that qualifying hiccup he had.
Exactly. And what I found really telling was there's this post-race interview with the Buenos Aires Herald, and he's not even dwelling on the pressure. He's talking about how physically demanding the car was. Like, his biggest takeaway from Monza was, man, F1 cars are tough to drive.
Gotta respect that. That's focus right there. Eyes on the prize, taking it all in stride.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you actually see that same mindset in, there's this Formula1.com article. They ask him about the 2025 driver market, all those rumors about him potentially replacing Sainz at Audi. And he just deflects, just shuts it down, says his focus is solely on this season, on maximizing his performance with Williams.
Wow, that's impressive. For a rookie to have that kind of level-headedness, that ability to tune out the noise, I mean, that's got to be valuable.
No doubt. And, that's probably a big part of why Williams took a chance on him in the first place. They need someone who can, handle the pressure cooker of F1, someone who can not only drive fast, but who's also got the mental fortitude to grow with the team, especially now as they're, trying to claw their way back up the grid.
Yeah, good point. Which brings us to Baku. Now, Baku is interesting because it wasn't just a solid performance, it was a statement.
Oh, yeah. Baku is huge. Qualifying for Q3, finishing 8th, scoring his first F1 points. He just blew everyone away.
Outperforming his teammate, who's, let's be real, a very experienced driver, on a street circuit known to be, shall we say, a bit unforgiving.
And after that shunt in practice, too, I mean, most rookies, they'd be shaken, right? But Colapinto just hops back in the car like nothing happened.
Talk about guts. I mean, to walk away from a crash like that and then put in a performance like that, it's remarkable.
Yeah, and you know what really impressed me about that Baku performance? It's when you actually break down the lap times, look at his driving lines, particularly through, like, turn 9, turn 10.
Yeah.
He's absolutely sending it.
No kidding. Those corners are, those are not for the faint of heart, let's just say.
Right. And he's taking these incredibly aggressive lines, like lines that even veteran drivers would kind of think twice about. But, for Colapinto, it's almost like, boom, full send, no hesitation.
And it paid off. At least in Baku it did. But then we get to Singapore, and it's almost like, I don't know, a completely different driver behind the wheel,
That's what's got everyone talking, right? Singapore, street circuit, no margin for error.
Yeah.
Was always going to be a different beast altogether. And then, of course, the incident with Albon on that first lap.
Yeah, turn one, that overtake, I mean, Bull doesn't even begin to cover it. What was your take on that? Was it rookie over-exuberance or something else?
It's interesting you say over-exuberance, because I was looking at the tire data, right? And actually, Colapinto's tires were in better shape than Albon's at that point in the race. So it wasn't a simple case of him, just diving into a gap that wasn't there.
Oh, interesting. So you're thinking it was more of a calculated risk then?
It was a risk, for sure, but calculated. I don't know about that. I mean, Albon was clearly frustrated, and rightfully so. I mean, they were both in a good position to score points, and that incident really compromised things. So you could argue that Colapinto still needs to kind of develop that awareness, that sense of what's acceptable within a team, especially when, championship points are on the line.
Yeah, it's that whole team dynamic, right? Knowing when to push, when to play it safe. It's almost like we're seeing these two extremes of his driving style, right? Like, Baku was calculated aggression, but then Singapore felt, I don't know, a bit less refined.
Yeah, that's where racecraft comes into play, right?
Racecraft. Okay, see, there's another one of those terms. You F1 analysts love to throw that one around. What does that actually mean in, practical term?
Okay, so racecraft. It's the art of not just driving the car fast, but understanding all those nuances, the race strategy, the tire management, knowing when to attack, when to conserve, when to maybe take a gamble. It's what separates the naturally gifted drivers from, the true champions of the sport.
So for Colapinto, it's about taking that raw speed, that natural talent, and kind of channeling it into a more, I guess, strategic approach.
Exactly. And it's not just about instinct, right? It's about, really studying the tracks, understanding the tire data, working closely with his engineers. It's a whole other level of learning.
All while having the weight of, an entire nation's expectations on his shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Because the Argentine press, they're already calling him the next Fangio. Talk about pressure.
And the thing is, his reaction to that whole Singapore incident, it was actually quite telling. He owned up to it, right? Admitted he misjudged the situation, even apologized to Albon directly. That kind of accountability, that willingness to learn from his mistakes, it's actually pretty huge, especially for a young driver.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny, we've been talking about all these, high pressure moments on the track, intense battles for position, but then you have that almost comical moment in Singapore where he nearly drives into the Alpine pit lane.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was dying. It just goes to show he's still got so much to learn, still finding his feet in this crazy world of F1, which is easy to forget sometimes, The guy's only 3 races into his F1 career. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, the analysis, but at the end of the day,
he's still just a young driver figuring it all out as he goes.
Exactly, and what a ride it's going to be.
That's for sure. And speaking of figuring things out, it's not all on Colapinto, is it? Williams, they've got a big role to play in all of this as well, right? They're the ones, ultimately, who are going to guide his development, right?
Absolutely. And that's what makes this whole situation even more interesting. You got to remember, Williams, they've got this long history of nurturing young talent, right? It's in their DNA.
Yeah, their driver development program is pretty highly regarded in the paddock.
Exactly. And then you've got James Vowles at the helm, and the guy's got a knack for spotting talent. He was instrumental in bringing through drivers like Russell and Latifi back when he was at Mercedes.
Right. Vowles has got that magic touch, it seems.
So you have to believe that, Colapinto's development is a top priority for them. Even with their 2025 race seats spoken for, if you read between the lines of that Williams statement, they clearly see long-term potential in him.
Okay, but then there's also that quote, that quote from Vowles where he says he's open to discussions with Sauber/Audi about Colapinto for 2025. So,
sure.
Which is it, right? Are they grooming him for themselves, or are they showcasing him for a potential, a sale, basically?
I think it's a bit of both, honestly. They're invested in his growth, no question, but they also understand the realities of F1, right? The driver market is ruthless. A talent like Colapinto, that's valuable. And if a team like Audi comes knocking with a fat checkbook...
Well, let's be real, F1 is a business at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It's like they're playing 4D chess with his career. And honestly, for Colapinto just to even be in the conversation for an Audi seat after only a handful of races, that's pretty remarkable in itself.
Testament to what he's shown so far, for sure. But as we've been saying, there's still work to do, right? Those rough edges need polishing. And the next few races, they're going to be crucial for him. He's got to prove he's not just a flash in the pan, that he can refine that raw speed, develop his racecraft, and really, perform under pressure.
And let's not forget the whole, weight of a nation thing, right?
Yeah.
Because the Argentine press, they're already crowning him the next Fangio.
Yeah, the Fangio comparisons are a bit premature, to say the least. But I get it, He's reignited this passion for F1 in Argentina. It's a big deal.
It's a great story. So, okay, bottom line, after all this, we've gone deep on his performance, analyzed every expert comment, considered all the complexities of F1 driver contracts. What's your final verdict on Franco Colapinto?
Honestly, I think he's a raw talent, huge potential, but the future, it's still unwritten. The next few races, those will be telling. He's got a chance to prove himself, silence the doubters, and, maybe, just maybe, become Argentina's next racing hero.
It's a story with more twists and turns than an F1 circuit, that's for sure. Will he be the next big thing, or will his F1 career be a fleeting moment of brilliance? Guess we'll have to wait and see. But hey, that's what makes this sport so captivating, right? The drama, the intrigue. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Franco Colapinto. Until next time, keep exploring.